Alright, here we go. Morning, everybody. Get a couple of these previews put away here. We don't really need this one. Can pause this one. Let's get the chat. Oh. This. Alright, let's see there. We picked up a new follower recently, so thank you to I'm Not Great at Chess. Appreciate the follow there, friend. This one back over here. I would say I'm not great at chess either, I don't think. It's been a long time since I played chess, for sure. Here we go. Almost there. We're just going to put this chat here. How's it going, DJ Devon? And C. Grover. Good morning, folks. Okay, so I am picking up where I left off on trying to make this build for the tablet. So I got the camera still here with this pressed-around device. I did clean up the PR if anybody's interested in an update. The thing we looked at very first yesterday was trying to get the PR back in order for the web workflow. And I did get that cleaned up and submitted the PR for it last night. I'll show that real briefly here. And then we'll get into the tablet building. And of course, you could probably hear I do still, of course, have work going on. So apologize. There's going to be some noise in the background, but we will do our best here. Hopefully, we'll have fewer technical difficulties. That would be nice. 113. 13. So this tried to go to HTTPS. It's trying to go to HTTPS. We'll reboot this. Try to load it. I mean, there's not much to it, but I figured I would show the edit page essentially, which is what we put back into it. It is interesting. I did have to do one extra tweak to. There we are. Yeah. I don't know, I had it just powered on whenever the computer powered on this morning. It probably was in a weird state. So in the file browser, you have to put in the password. Don't save. We now have edit links here, and we can go to a file like CircuitPy, for instance. Click edit, get to the edit page for that. We also now actually have, whoa, interesting. Weird, why did we get JSON instead of HTML? That's interesting. There is also now, back one more, serial terminal, which is super duper cool. We'll actually be able to see the serial output here, so we could take our code, we can edit this. And I do have to eject it, so I'll eject the drive from my computer. And then once I do that, I can save inside the editor here, either with the save button, or I also have Control-S hooked up. I'll press Control-S, it'll say saving status 204. Oh, interesting, this looks like it changed, I think. And there is the output from it right there. Webflow edit again, happy Saturday. So we got that to print. And we're able to you do more stuff in the REPL here as well. Obviously, we could like define some variables, do whatever we want. I did notice this yesterday, actually, the order. It doesn't like the order I type. So like generally when I'm typing a function, I go, function name, open, close, back. And then if the function takes a string, I put my quotes in here and then I go like this. And that's kind of how I type the function, but I noticed it does not, the left arrows throw it off, so it gets out of sync. I did make an issue for that last night. Twitch audio and video is good, thank you. Appreciate that. Only seeing the deep dive. Oh no, did I never switch? Oh no, I did switch, okay. Let's see, only seeing the deep dive title screen on Twitch. Audio is okay. It might just be behind a little bit. My Twitch preview over there does show the live one, so maybe refresh or something like that. Of course, at this point, if you're probably behind, if you're behind, so you're not going to hear me say that, so I'll put it in the chat as well. Maybe try refreshing. Title card. So there's our serial, and the edit page is working. I had to make one tweak to get it to back to working, which was because the JavaScript and HTML are minified, and the library that minified it doesn't currently work by default with the ECMAScript 6 string quotes with backticks. They can have multi-line strings with backticks, and it's kind of like f-strings in Python. They can substitute in variables to them. But this minification library didn't support it. It does have an optional argument, though, to add it and make it work with those strings with backticks. So I did that, and then it was right back to working. So there's our edit page. There is a PR in for it now, 6611. It is failing. I saw in 2 checks. I think I only looked at one of those, and it was a size thing. So I assume we'll have to either disable it on some of the smallest ones or try to figure out how to pack it in smaller. It is possible the page, like, there are still some extra features on it, like, you know, theoretically, I guess we could do without undo redo docs. You definitely need a save, I guess, but there is also this thing. I think is it Control I did? Oh, Control H maybe. Control H. Well, that's replace, which is odd. Wouldn't that be Control R? Control R is also replace. Interesting. Not Control I. Pop-ups. Oh, references. Allow pop-ups. Okay, I was the docs page. I for info. Is it E maybe? E? There it is, Control E. This just opens up like a settings panel with a bunch of different settings, including like theme. You know, you can change the color. You could change the mode. Of course, our mode is going to stay Python because we're writing Python code. So, you know, maybe we don't even need the mode thing in there, truthfully. You can pick out your theme. There's a couple of key bindings, shortcuts. There's some font size, you know, manipulation if you want it bigger, like I normally have bigger fonts. Soft wrapping, all these different options. So I don't know, you know, ultimately if we want to have all these options in here, they are there right now. It doesn't really take that much code to add them, but every little bit does count on these smaller, you know, these smaller boards, the ones that it did fail on. So YouTube working fine, had to crash and restart Twitch. Oh, interesting. For the Android app. Okay. So that's where we're at on web workflow, edit page, and then I'm going to get right back into the Crestron tablet. So Kmatch, who's here in the chat, how's it going? Good morning. Thank you again for everything. Kmatch put in the chat a little ways up here a link to a new version of ESP32-S3, new branch basically. So we can give that a try. Create a new branch of ESP32-S3. Clone this. I cloned this under ports expressive. Let's comment out that one include and add a linker.lf file. We'll give that a try. So we can go, I think we did have a separate instance open here, right? I also realized I just like literally jumped straight in this morning. I didn't do any kind of intro or anything. So anybody who might be new, thanks for tuning in, or especially if you're watching the VOD or anything like that. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself for the show or anything. My name is Tim, and I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord, and then we're working on CircuitPython stuff. Specifically, we're trying to run CircuitPython on this tablet device here, or even more specifically, we're actually trying to run it on this device here on the back, which is actually connected to the tablet with a ribbon cable. So that's what we're trying to do, is get CircuitPython working on this thing. If you do have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat on Discord or Twitch. Another thing you could do is head over to circuitpython.org. There's more information of there. And then, of course, the Discord, which is, I think, linked down below the Discord. You can join there. Lots of folks are in those Discord channels that can help explain things, get you up to speed, point you in the right direction of resources to learn about CircuitPython. So we should have recents, right? Open recents. We'll have to. So we are. When are we actually in here? The new CircuitPython repo. Let me tablet. Maybe we never did actually have that one open in this. We did a couple of different trial runs last night. One of them I did have a K-match. And I think I'm going to have to go clean up my CircuitPython repos at some point. I'm starting to get quite a few of them. I ended up making another one actually last night for the web workflow as well. Looks like actually, yeah, this one here would be the one we want. New window. This one should be on, yeah, this was on K-matches branch here, so we should be able to go fetch, which is this, I think, fetch, yeah. Let's see. Grab these links here, and then I'll scroll the chat back down. This one. And this one. Okay, and then we'll scroll it back down. And I'll come back up for a minute because I'll need maybe some more of that information. Watched Deep Dive last night, really cool custom board. Yeah, thank you. And of course, thanks again. I've said it a bunch of times, but thanks again to K-Match as well for getting this stuff all figured out initially. Building the custom board for it and everything. Super cool stuff. So let's go here. We should be able to find now the new branch, which is RGB add. Yeah, RGB add. RGB add right there. Check it out. Okay, we do have some changes. Let's go don't check out. What did I actually change in that file? I think we were playing with that include, essentially. Where was that actually at, though? Should have looked at the full path on that. It's components. Is it ESP source? Yep, there it is. Open that. Let's see what actually did I change. I think it's going to be that include MISC. We were trying some different stuff with that. Okay. Put that back how it was, then we should be able to check out. See, make lists. Not buildable. Okay, I don't know. Well, I mean, you'd have to do that install and the export and stuff. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm not sure why it tried to build, to be honest with you. Okay. MISC is just commented out. And then you added it looks like you said added one other file, was that? Link.lf? It's coming out, the one include, and add a linker.lf, yeah. Linker.lf is this one, it looks like. Oh, interesting. Mapping. RAM safe. Oh, okay, this is like matching up functions with, I don't know what these, if they're objects or events or something inside the system. If LCD RGB is IRAM safe, yes. Huh. I'm not familiar with that syntax. So we should maybe now go back to CircuitPython. We're already in Espressif. We should, well, no, I guess we got a new IDF, so let's do an install on that. That run. We'll do an export as well. Not sure why it needs linker LF. Seems like there should be a better way. Chalk this up to my lack of knowledge on C. I can relate to you there for sure. Okay, got that. So we can It'd almost be cool if this thing, like at the very end of it, would be like, you know, press enter for this command to just happen automatically or something. Or maybe if there was a flag, you could pass it to where it would do both sequentially instead of just running one and then giving you the exact printout that you need to run for the next one instead of just running it. Okay, we should be there now. We've got our IDF export and built. We should now... We probably want to make a clean build, I guess, right? So let's go... this one. Clean. Can you do shouty clean? I don't know. Probably won't work. Okay. And then we'll give it the J4 there. Nice. It's definitely running its thing. And we'll probably get a couple of those Bluetooth warnings or whatever. We were seeing those commonly last night, but they ended up even showing in a successful build. So that's something that not related to the specific stuff we're working on. Yeah, these ones here, in fact, these are the exact ones. You attempt IDX, I think nimble BLE gap. Comparison is always false. Let's see. Yeah. We're getting a little farther for sure. I feel like we failed a little quicker last night during the build. Of course, I did do it clean too as well, right? So let's have to generate a bunch of those files again. Open this up while I wait here. Got a new creationology. Got a new one of these little... It's probably loud, sorry. Here we are. Camera real quick here. My little fidget toy thing. New little one of these. These things just pop back and forth. Little balls there. I found one of these at the store as like a baby toy. This one here. And I keep it on my desk and I play with it all the time. Pop these things back and forth. It's a lot of fun. My wife got me a new one last night. She saw one while she was out. Interesting. This is like the same exact mold almost. Like these two are pretty much identical. But this one is rubbery. And this one is hard plastic. Doesn't squeeze. The white part. But then these, of course, are like... I don't know if they're exactly rubber or what, but... It's fun to pop them back and forth for sure. Oh, we got a build. Look at that. Okay, so now we'll need to not use UF2, it sounds like, but we can use bin. So let's head back up to the instructions I think you mentioned. ESP tool. I think I should... ESP tool. Oh, this is a Python thing, though, right? Package not found. Okay. I'll try ESP tool first. After that, maybe we'll try one also with the web serial flasher thing. The web ESP tool. Is that? Where's the actual page? Abkusa? Abu Casa? What is that? Okay, well, we're in Firefox here. Oh. This is in the MacTag page. I wonder, is this the only link for this? I feel like there was a, I must say there was a Adafruit link, was there? Here's this page. Oh yeah, okay, maintained by. Derived from. I wonder what's the difference in this one. Oh, interesting. Could be. Oh, this is pretty cool. I didn't know there was a third party that kind of like picked that up and made their own version of it. I wonder if there's any differences. This looks like, I mean, this looks like a company, of course, offering Home Assistant cloud stuff. Interesting. Huh. Nicely, though, they did link to this one, which was the one I was thinking. Oh, but it's archived. Oh, and they did link over. Huh. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I'm just hosted by them now, I guess. Okay, yeah, we'll try that, I think, after the Python one. Oops. 1 second here, let me look one more thing. Sorry about that. Version of pip. Okay. So it has been a minute, so let's see. On the M3. This will be our command, but we'll need we will need to get it connected still, right? Because if I understand correctly, this does use the other port, which I think is what you mentioned there. I usually keep both cables connected. We don't have to switch back and forth. So I'll need to actually, well, I guess I could switch back and forth, although that does sound pretty convenient. I'll need to grab another USB. I have slowly migrating to C. Got a C on my desk, and I have one micro, but I do not have two micros. Let me grab one more. Okay. I get a second one, and then so this goes through the UART. This closest to me, but I'm gonna double check. Yeah, okay. We'll plug this one. We got the CircuitPy from the second one there. It will surely also have some serial ports. Do we need to, was it specified? Does it know how to find the device automatically? I would assume that's the CircuitPython connection. Possibly this could be the UART one? I'll unplug the UART one. We'll run that same command again. Yeah. It's no longer listed, so that's got to be the one, I think. Okay, let me catch up here as well. Got the command. Ran into a situation where ESP tool worked and the web flash didn't because of a race condition to a locked COM port was needed. Oh, okay. Bookmark it in Chrome. It's the only one I know of. Casa means home in Spanish. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know umbrella in Japanese. Interesting. Got plenty of micros dating back to Arduino, like all this, the Adafruit stuff being in C. Is there a way to do... Oh, there's a way to do it with chip ID, but don't know how off the top of my head. The command seems to be able to hunt and find the right port. Nice. I'll just double check that it's back here. Indeed. Paste that. Yeah, we'll let it rip. Let's give it a try. Yeah, sure did. Serial ports. I think about this process every time I save a CircuitPython file, about how lucky we are to just save the file and it goes. This is kind of closer to like the Android workflow as well, which I have a lot of experience with, like building, waiting for it to actually push it to the device over the cable. Got a MAC address through there. Interesting. Is that a Wi-Fi MAC address, I guess? 40 megahertz crystal. Sometimes things get weird. I have to put it into boot mode. Hold boot, tap reset. Definitely yeah, for sure. I'll try to see if ESP tool can run at the faster baud rate. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Possibly it could. Man, it's not too bad, really. Grand scheme of things. 88 seconds. 37 kilobits per second. Resetting. Okay. All right. Got the console still. The right CodePy. I'm gonna open it up again explicitly just to make sure it's actually the right one. Oh, interesting. These. Oh. I don't know. Something is making these. Maybe these are these a Mac thing? You mentioned you were using a MacBook. That's what these things are. I don't know. I saw those for some of the libraries as well yesterday. It's like each file that exists has one of those. Oh, but this one's a folder. Interesting. Not sure about the underscores. Maybe Mac did this. Dot underscore. Let's do a quick check. I'm kind of curious. There's our Blinka. Dot underscore files. Or dot underscores. Yeah, looks like probably Mac. Cohabitate with them peacefully. You can't avoid them. Store information. Okay. Thanks. Well, that's not very nice. Maybe these are the files they talk about on that storage page. Well, that's an interesting effect going on there. Is that just... Oh, interesting. It's like washing out or something. Okay, maybe connect TO here as well. There we go. Something's weird. Something went weird and it went to a REPL. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. It's like it's like the photos in Back to the Future. Slowly fading out. I think it was, I don't know for sure, but I don't think it was in the REPL before I opened this. But it is now. We can try Control D. Oh, we got hard fault. Made it to safe mode. Okay, let's see if we can... Oh wow, it's even... Is it still fading? Oh no, that's just my angle. Looks a little bit more weird still. Screen's coming back. That's a fascinating effect. Let's try going just the USB cable by itself. And I'll give it a reset here. See what that does to it. Okay. There we go. Made it in this time. Maybe there's something about the first time it boots up or something? Odd behaviors. Some of which are in the issue. Okay. It had to do with Git, but yeah. Could also have been the SD Learn Guide. Reading a lot lately. Yeah, I know there's a like a troubleshooting common problems type thing that talks about the drive filling up. They don't actually show the kind of files. Though I guess this is probably regex or something that finds them. Yeah. I think maybe that's the same thing this page is talking about. Well, no, I don't know. Fast events, F's an idea. Idea is the IDE. I don't know. Might be different ones. Might be the same ones. See if we can tweak this a bit. So let's go check out the code. I did not actually ever look into the code yet. That said, you have to somehow move the frame buffer and display memory when CodePy finishes. You mentioned something about when the VM machine closes, you have to move stuff off the heap. Okay. Warning I saw specifically talking about Mac invisible files. On the build learn guide, I gotcha. Look at the actual code behind this. So pretty standard stuff to start with, just releasing the displays, which happens for all non-built-in displays typically. It's making a focal touch on the I2C bus. Okay, focal touch, is that touch. Okay. So this focal touch library ended up being the same as the kind of touchscreen that's actually already on this tablet. Is that right? Interesting. But now you have to hard reset to get the display to work again. Okay. Debug false. Says import display twice. That doesn't matter. .clock. So this would be the new bit that is added to core. Load up Blinka, create a tile grid for it, make a main group, put the tile grid in the main group, image load up bubble. You might be able to get by without this. Image load the foam tablet, so the fancy text there. This bit in the middle. That's pretty big as well. How big is that? This thing's got a nice chunk of memory, it seems like. .800 by 480, wow, yeah. Tile grid for that one. Oops. I think it did reset itself just there. Oh. Possibly something caused a write, which caused it to reset. Oh, okay, no, it did. Okay, so this happens slowly over time after you make it to the hard fault handler. And then a reset is what got us back from that last time. So one thing we'll do is it'll take me a while to figure out how to do it again, but we'll try to, is it make a debug build, or we'll try to get more information about this hard fault handler, figure out where in the core code it's happening rather. 8 megs of flash and 8 megs of PS RAM. Nice. Extended focal touch, and now to handle 10 multi-touch chip that's in the same family as the ones on the cap boards that Adafruit has. Oh, wow. Does it have any specific behavior for multi right now? Not yet, okay. Does it end up just giving you a list of points or something? It's kind of an interesting thing I haven't considered. Since the display doesn't have any real memory, the screen's image... Ah, I see. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think you were explaining that the other last night as well. So it's constantly the CPU, well, the CircuitPython device in this case, whether I don't know if it's a CPU or a GPU peripheral inside of it or whatever, but something is constantly sending the colors of the pixels to the display over and over, the whole display over and over, even if nothing changes. And so then if that signal stops, if it's no longer sending those things over to the display, then slowly over time it fades away just by the nature of, I guess, the kind of lights and the kind of display it is, sounds like. So when it crashes, we stop sending, and then the fading out bit there is it no longer receiving updates and therefore just slowly going back to its natural state, essentially. What it sounds like to me. Taking a look through the code here. So it does have data pin list. Up a bunch of those pins, .clock frame buffer. I've never made a, we should probably practice that on a device that is a little bit less new. That might be a fun exercise one day, is to try to take a device that doesn't have a built-in screen, but put the code in the core to make a custom build that does have a built-in screen. So like, maybe take a feather and a TFT feather wing, pair them up, but make a custom build that has it as a built-in display so you can access it on board.display. Because it'd be interesting as well. I'm curious, like if you put this inside the core, like how those built-in displays are handled, that might be kind of cool. We could eventually have an all-in-one tablet device. With multi-touch, it seems to kind of know which finger is which, even when they're moving around. Try touching with one finger and then a second one, but still keep 0.1 as the same finger. I have bubbles on that one. Then I can move this one around, and it doesn't draw, but does it like, is it printing anything in there maybe? Let's see what we have in there. Show. Yeah, we could add a print though. Let's see where we're handling the. Oh, this is interesting. So it calls. Interesting. So does it? So none would. Well, okay, I see. This gets you back to the REPL. This is why you can see this. Time sleep. This is also the new lines. This is why this scrolls up the screen when we first start. That makes sense. Then we show our main group. Call refresh to get it to actually take over. Assume, I guess, refresh is auto refresh is probably off. Maybe defaults to off. A couple other prints that aren't used anymore, it looks like, just as a delay now. Okay, yeah, this was playing with auto refresh before. I'll comment it out now. Box size, corner. So these look like these are probably going to be the red boxes in the corners. Have these red boxes. The corners there. And those are just bitmaps. Okay, transparency for our bubbles, so that the bubbles are like, you can see through them, the inside. Setting the color to the first color in the rainbow wheel, essentially. A tile grid for the bubble, it looks like, yep. Corner box, bitmap. Color palette, red and black. Fill it with red. Create the tile grid for it, move it to the corner, and then it's doing the same thing again with a different corner. Same thing again, same thing again. Velocity, probably for the moving bubble. Create, let's see, new groups, 2 and 3. 3 gets tile grid 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 2 gets tile grid 2. Probably go through and rename these eventually. Main group gets both 2 and 3, and then we show main group. So this is actually changing us from Blinka, the Blinka computer, to the foam tablet, I think, right? 2xy, finish show, refresh. Okay, so this one's got a target minimum frames per second. Here's our touches. If we get touches, points, we could print those. And it is a list. Nice. Okay, update the probably the color of the bubble, but this one does say palette bubble, so maybe not palette 2. We'll have to look back at what palette 2 was. Oh, I somehow got my bubble stuck. Got my bubble stuck on this edge here. Here, we'll help them out. Let's move them over here. There we go. Freed from their invisible prison. Let me catch up here. Okay, we saw that bit. Let's see. Yep, we talked about that. Touch controller sends a list. Yep, 10 points. Current code just uses the first one with multi-touch. Seems to know. Try touching with one finger. Commented out the print, so we got that in for next time. Could you use pop? Could use pop. Pop to remove it from the list of touches. I'm not sure what you mean. Use pop instead. Added the red boxes when debugging so I could verify that it was centered. I see. When developing and it was glitching, I couldn't tell if the screen was centered properly. I I don't know if setting the refresh rate does anything. Right now there's no way of measuring the frame rate. It would be a nice add. My edge case on the bubble position has some bugs. Count to increment for the rainbow next time. The movement of the bubble. Is that true? Group 2, well yeah, group 2 and group 2 X and Y. Oh, interesting. It's using like, I don't know what they would call that, I guess. Unpacking or something? I think that's called packing in JavaScript. It's like setting two variables at once. Just add it together with the velocity. Nice. Tiny sleep. Couple more comments. Probably just more tests. On this bitmap. Yeah, I guess there's actually a while true here, so we would never theoretically get to this one. This one looks like is additional touch testing. Nice. Okay, so let's run this with the updated. I did uncomment the print here, so let's see if we can get multi-touches here. I think it'll take it a second to load. And while it's doing that, it will be like doing this whole fading thing here, so let's see if we did. Okay, yeah. Oh wait, this is old. Yeah, I wasn't scrolled. Oh no, okay, we did make it to the hard file handler. Let's redo that. Reset. Go this way. Does that come through on the stream? That's pretty good. Won't cover up too much the chat. Still see the serial output. I learned tuple assignment from the pros, probably Jepler. Nice. Pop going. Oh, pop going from Blinka to the foam display instead of display none. Yeah, I think you could. The display none, though, I think is actually different. The bit where it's doing display none, that is essentially making it go back to the REPL, or making it go to the REPL, or the serial console to be even more like accurate, I guess, because we're not actually in the REPL at this point. It's just printing. This one here, that's what that's doing, is it's taking us to the serial so that we can see this print statement on the screen. When it does switch to Blinka, that one is probably this, but maybe not. This might be actually showing the foam tablet. To your point, though, yes, I think you could use pop. I'm pretty sure group does support pop. Group does work by stacking stuff up, so like you could stack up Blinka on top of whatever else, the foam tablet or anything else, and then you could pop Blinka off. That would be gone, and then you'd be left with whatever was below it, which would be the foam tablet or whatever you put. And to use CodePy as an archive file. Yeah, I feel you there. I do this kind of thing a lot as well. I'll end up with CodePy where it's like, you know, the original script is just up here commented out, and then there's a whole new script here, and you know, eventually that one's commented out, and there's a whole new script down here. I definitely am guilty of that as well. Just dropping a bunch of stuff into CodePy. I see pop would only work within display.io. Yeah, that's, yeah. You could pop it from a group, and then that would get, you know, it would essentially just remove the thing from the group, which would then cause it to not be shown anymore. Do the same as well, DJ Devin. Nice. So we should be getting those prints now, right, for the multi-touches? Yeah. Let's see. Maybe it's still not quite the logic, actually, because I do have 2 touches here. Yeah. check the logic on that. I think I probably did it wrong. Uncommented a print, but we probably still need to look at, yeah. We could just go, well, okay, yeah, we could uncomment the other print. Let's do that. This would give us the list. You know what we could do, actually? We could take this and put it in here, and it will only print it if it's not an empty list. That way we won't print as much. I'll resave that. I don't know. We might have gone to hard fault. Let's see. Yeah. It's kind of a neat, I like what it did here, though. I will say one of the fun things working with graphics at super low levels is like this is when things do go wrong, they go wrong in a way that looks pretty sometimes, which is cool. So there's our second and our third, and I'll try to get a fourth and a fifth. That's all the fingers I got on this hand. Oh, overloaded. Reset it. Let's see, does it come back from hard fault or? Interesting, it didn't actually say hard fault, but I guess it probably is, right? I2C. It's probably like still connected in there. Reset that one. We'll stick to 2 or 3. Oh, we got like inverse on these. Those are like tealish instead of red. It's interesting. We're definitely not running now. Same thing, no pull-ups. Line 21, which is just initializing the bus. That means nothing is plugged in basically anymore. Probably the touch driver chip is not reacting, not responding or whatever, maybe. So what I'm gonna do is just unplug for now. I'll unplug this all the way. There we go. Give it a second here and then I'll plug it back in. There we go. Use triple comment quotes to, entire sections. Yep, same here. Triple comment strings, basically. Kind of like a geological layer history of my code. Nice. Yeah, that is a pretty interesting way to think about it. Is it's like, you know, the rings in a tree or something. Different layers of the rocks. There's our 2. It's gonna be pretty good on 2. And 3, honestly. It really only freaked out when I got to like 8-ish. What is that? One second here, let me... I'll be back in just a second. Thought I heard something weird. Figured out what it was though. Skip it on to the next. Okay. I may try to, if it is cool with UK Match, I may try to show this on show and tell, like show the tablet, and maybe I'll whip up a demo that does something with the other touches. Like maybe I'll change up the demo and it draws like a box when you touch, and there's one box for each finger and they're different colors and they follow the fingers around so that you could kind of touch and move and it would it would just show that the multi-touch is working. That might be a cool way to introduce this to the public and just show them that it's out there and that it's work that's ongoing and that the multi-touch is in place. I would say too, if you have the code for your focal touch, maybe go ahead and make a PR if you want. Even if it's not passing actions or whatever, if you want to just push your stuff and have a bouncing box that I started with, nice. If you want to push your focal touch and make a PR from it, if it's not passing actions and you don't have time to straighten it out or anything, I can definitely help get that. Let's see. Can definitely help get that ready to go as well, because it would be cool just to have multi-touch support in that library. I2C. So I actually have some tablets that I wonder. This makes me really wonder if the tablets that I have would have the same kind of screen and or touch in them. I think it's pretty likely because the tablets I have are essentially made for this same kind of thing. Conference room / digital signage type stuff. It's actually small world after all, I guess. This type of device is like pretty much my day job, is working on this kind of stuff for digital signage. Also large format televisions and other things, but over the years, conference room signage is one of the things that I've done a fair amount of. I've actually made some custom applications that run on this type of thing outside a conference room that shows the schedule and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting that, oh, it's already PR'd. Nice. Yeah, hammering, that's mine. Yep, hammering is on my end. How's it going, Johnny? Thanks for tuning in. Yep, I've got, I'm getting new siding put on my house. So this is about, well, today's Saturday. This is actually the 1 week, I think. I think last Saturday was the day they started. And they're probably about another day or two is my guess. You're looking pretty close to wrapping it up. Couple of sections are all that's left. But yeah, hammering, power tools, all that kind of stuff is going on here. So if you hear it, that's definitely on my end. Some displays use MIPI controllers. Not sure how to drive those yet. I've seen some demos for FPGAs that read those. I looked at some of the Google Assistants with screens, and they seem to use the MIPI displays. No idea how to talk to those. So let's see if we can just play with the multi-touch a bit. So I am excited to get into the core, try to debug the hard fault, and to try to get this ready to, PR and eventually merge into the core. I'm also excited to just play with the device. Honestly, was it PR'd and merged already? Looks like. Ah, yeah, nice. A while back, Feb. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to take apart one of my tablets. If I still have some around here, I'd have ended up back at the office. I'm curious though. They're like a 10-inch one. I bet you it's like probably the same touch. Honestly. Okay, so let's start a new script and let's see if we can just make a basic multi-touch type demo essentially. So I'll copy paste code. Okay, match test code. And then we'll just kind of keep the bits we need. So time, yeah, we can have all of this. We can still do that. We can take this out. We can, yeah, we can do that. Do they have on board like a, oh, we made it to hard fault. Oh, this one has an interesting like blue laser. Look at that. Got this like vaporwave beam going on in there. That's interesting. Reset that. Was that reset or was that boot? Might have been boot. Okay, that was reset. Lovely. They're going to renovate the building here in a year. Do not look forward to that. Have an office at home. Yeah. Same here. I'm ready for the hammering to stop, definitely. But I'm also happy to have the better siding. So, blessing and a curse. It is distracting and loud and difficult to work through sometimes, but it is for the better ultimately. And they're almost done, which is the nice part. Okay. Oh, right. I was gonna see. Is there a import board? Is there a nope. I'm gonna say, is there a SDA or SCL? I guess did they choose not to because they're not labeled? Is that? We can't quite see the edges on this one. Oh. $61 in stock. I should pick up some more of these. Yeah, that looks like the deal. They don't have doesn't actually say SDA and SCL, just has numbers. Be nice to have those in for convenience too, but R8, yep. Yep, I had just the first bit there and I was confused about the 2 for a second. RRQ pin initialize. That's the other thing too, is if they were SCL and SDA internally, we could also probably set up board.i2c, is what a bunch of them use. Okay, so I think what we'll do is let's move this bit up. And yeah, it just doesn't know about this because I haven't updated my stubs with the special new build. It's getting Blinka. I'm gonna start here. Let's make a main group. We won't append anything yet. Get a pin list, which makes the display. Nice. That is awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I think Adafruit pin naming conventions would probably make your life easier. Yeah, I think so as well. I think, though, they do like to keep them the same as the silk screen. So in a case like this, I don't know if they would want them labeled differently in the board object than they do on the silk screen. We could try PR in it, though. We can leave that. Blurp. We can leave the print for that. We'll say main group. We'll leave it on just the group. We won't go to the REPL for now. We could use these things. Box sizes. Yeah, we'll probably use that. This is probably we could do display.height and width maybe. Well, is this a dot clock frame display? Width height? Guess we don't actually know, do we? that the frame buffer? Yeah. If we have a height. Make new. Also just got the 7-inch 40 pin from DigiKey, the driver board. Gonna run it on the Unexpected Maker S3. Nice. This is 800 by 480 is the tablet that I have. I don't know though if you meant the 7-inch one that DJ Devin mentioned. I don't know on that one. It's way better. Love the integrated buttons in the bezel. Yeah, and I think those buttons are. Those might be like they're not special. I think those are just part of the touch overlay, maybe. We could check on that by trying this. Okay, there's our hard faults. We'll reset. I think you told me earlier it has to be hard reset. I just went ahead and did it the other way anyway. Sorry about that. Let's go back to here. Buttons are part of the touchscreen. Nice. So that might be kind of a cool demo to write for this as well, is maybe like a list that you can you know, scroll up and down through or something like that. Oh. Yeah, so you just touch over there. And so there would basically be special logic, you know, in your touch handling code that says, like, if the X value is above, you know, 700-ish, then you treat it as this outside row there. It is interesting. Does that mean that the display pixels are not matched up with the touch pixels? Also, my camera just froze. The actual tablet is still running fine. The camera app crashed. There we go. We're probably out of focus. There for now. Ooh. Gonna run my, okay, let me catch up here. Buttons are part of the touchscreen. Looking at some kind of touch display for a home assistant interface. Gonna run my offline weather station on it. Same thing I have running on 3.5-inch TFT Featherwing, but bigger. Nice. First trial is here. Restaurant device. Ooh, this one's got lights, maybe lighted buttons or something on the edges there. Giant mess, even with adapters. Touch buttons on the Creston would be great for something like Home Assistant. Yeah. Oh, this one is even like breadboard style. Look at that. Nice. So this is basically replacing the ribbon cable, right? This rainbow here is essentially the same, carrying the same data as this ribbon cable here. Is that a correct understanding of that? Switch back to the chat here as well. How many buttons on that one? Yeah. Did you place Phantom Display IO button? Ooh, that is a pretty good thought, C. Grover. Yeah, I think you probably could. Well, I guess it depends on. I guess it depends on the way this works. If the touch coordinate plane is the same as the display pixels coordinate plane or not. It might be different to account for the fact that the touch coordinate plane also includes this, but obviously the visual doesn't. Although, truthfully, it looks like maybe it just treats it as the visual does, because it does basically just go off the edge over there. Okay, so let's keep going here. So was I editing the wrong one? Did I just not save it? Seems like I didn't save it. We did cut some of this. Stuff out. I started looking into the height and width. Yeah, I must not have saved it though. Whoop. Save here. In the focal, oh, let me catch up. Yep, okay, had to break out the 40-pin cable to wire it to the dev kit. Nice. Geeking out about buttons, this is life, definitely agreed. Let's see, here we go. Focal touch library, I have a calibration setting so you can adjust the pixels versus touch points. Oh, nice. In essence, the touchscreen has more pixels than the screen. Do the same thing to the left side in display-o to make the bezel sides symmetrical. Yeah, you could. The right bezel with the arrow printing is actually wider than the left side. I'm unsure if the left bezel is touch sensitive. I'll try it here in a minute. Got to turn off my soldering station again. Oh no, thanks to the Home Assistant for turning off the power in the lab for me. Oh, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I've got a soldering iron that doesn't turn itself off. It's probably the one thing I don't like about the soldering iron that we have. It's a super nice iron. It works really, really well. Tips are nice. I like pretty much everything about it, but it doesn't turn itself off. It's pretty much like this one here. Having an extra thing. You know, I do have some of those. Maybe I could make that with. I do have some of these things. Let's see, what would this be called? It's like a, I don't know, IoT power. This thing, yeah. I could use something like this, like plug the iron into this, and then plug a microcontroller into it, and just have a, I mean, even if it was a super dumb, just like X amount of time, right? Just turn it off after 15 minutes or something. If you're still using it, then you just turn it back on. If you're not still using it, then like, hooray, it saved you from having it stay on. The soldering, let's see if it turned itself off after a while mid-project. Nah, I don't think so, DJ Devin. I'm way happier to have it turn off mid-project when I'm still trying to use it than I am to have it stay on if I have legitimately forgotten about it. The other thing I'll mention, that Heiko iron, I mean, that's the only one I can really speak to, but that Heiko iron, it heats up fast. It is like 30 seconds from cold to hot, basically. Like, it takes almost nothing. So even if you didn't notice it and it cooled all the way down, it's still just like a couple seconds, 30 seconds or a minute max to get it heated back up. I mean, if it was happening every minute or something, that might get to be annoying, but 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that, I'd be more than happy to let it cut out. If we wanted to get fancy, maybe you could also just add a button that's like a reset timer button. You know, on the microcontroller, it'd have a button, you press it, and that just gives you another 15 minutes or something like that. PIR would do it as well. Then we wouldn't need the microcontroller, and it would just stay on when there's movement. Jupo Weller, have mine timeout set to 15 minutes, works just fine. Nice. Eco soldering iron has been good to me. Second best purchase for my work is a vacuum desoldering gun. I'll have to get one of those. I've never had much luck with desoldering, but I don't think I've ever tried a vacuum desoldering gun. That sounds a little better than anything that I've tried. I've tried the wick. Sometimes I can get the wick to work, sorta, kinda. I've tried the pumpy thing. You like push it down and then you push the button and it like pumps itself back up and suctions. I never had much luck with that one, other than just melting the tips, basically. Vacuum desoldering gun. It's just a sucker. Yeah, I have this kind. I've never had much luck with it. Oh. Okay, yeah. Guy that I worked with got one of these, actually. I think he told me about it. Ooh, this one's interesting. It's got the bulb, like, off to the side there. It's even a Heiko brand. Look at that. Yeah, I should get one of these things, honestly. It does seem pretty handy. And I will say, like, I've never had much luck desoldering, so this certainly looks like it makes it quite a bit easier. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to basically blank to start with. I don't know if we need that one. Is this a different touchscreen or a different? Is it actually the screen? TLV94049 3D. Oh, magnetometer. And of course, I still have all that stuff over here. I'm just cleaning out this one to go kind of back to a blank slate here. We'll keep the touch. Don't need that one. I'll keep width and height. I think we should be able to get width and height from display, maybe. See if that works. Save this. I will have to do the reset. Oh, I missed it in here. TO did not reconnect fast enough, but we have it here. 800, 400. And then We must have hit the hard fault right after that, I guess. Maybe we do need this. Let's see if we crash again the same way. I think it did. Oh. Whoa, interesting. Oh, it's because we're not sending, right? We're having the thing you were talking about. We're not, it's fading out because we're not changing anything. We're not doing anything. Okay, so we actually would need a refresh call in here, which I probably cut out. I'm sure there was one. Or just the fact that... Okay, there was no refresh, but it's just the fact that auto refresh must be on, and these were changing, right? These caused a refresh to trigger. And so if we touch, then that means we have to print something, which causes a refresh to trigger, which refreshes the whole display in this case. Theoretically, we could do something like this, and then it wouldn't fade out on us. Maybe. I do think the reset, we'll still need to use the reset button, probably. Yeah. Let me catch up here. PIR is good. Probably spend enough dollars on solder wick to buy half the vacuum. Yeah. Yeah, I end up using a lot of wick if I try it that way. Now we are still getting the fade action. Just realized I'm talking nonsense. No need for a microcontroller. Where do we put the firmware then? Indeed, that's how my fume extractor works. The PIR, nice. The wick is amazing if you lace it up with flux first. I'll have to try that. Mostly work on vintage audio. Vacuum soldering gun saves me hours of time. Nice. I'm a solder sucker, but I still prefer the wick because you have to reload the spring for each use, and it's big. I don't even want to try the other methods. More vestigial code. Sorry, I didn't catch up here for quite a bit. PIRs in the lab, but everything's controlled by automations. Home Assistant. Nice. Pinouts. How do you tell Home Assistant to keep the soldering iron on? Make sure you want to triage it with a knife. Okay. Yeah, drive nicely. I was down 15 minutes after the PIR sensor's last triggered. Liking that screen fade out effect. Wish that was a controllable option for the TFT displays. It is kind of cool the way it fades on you. Surprised the refresh didn't do it. It must. It's not having any dirty regions. Like, we're calling refresh, but it's not mattering because it knows nothing changed. Probably. That's my guess. Should be auto refreshing. Not sure what's going on. I think there is efficiency logic that makes it so even if you call refresh, it doesn't end up doing anything if no pixels have been changed. Probably we could try this experiment. So let's make some actual stuff. So I don't actually know off the top of my head the instructor for this. That's not what I wanted. Width, height, value count. But this is obviously a very small thing. It's a 1x1 bitmap that's going to be green. It's going to probably just be in the upper left corner. We will need to call that. A PIR sensor that works amazingly well from 5 feet for hallway lights. If I put that on my soldering iron, even a slight body twitch will keep the timer alive. There's a new type of sensor on the market now based on millimeter wave tech. Can detect if a person is in the room. That's interesting. Ultrasonic. Got one for a mailbox. Wondering if I should have gone PIR instead. We need to update display IO to call a refresh even if nothing is dirty. Yeah, we probably will on this type of display. Maybe it will need to override something in the display object. Let's see, original use case for this class, thermal IR breakout. Ultrasonic has a shorter detection zone. Time for coffee, back in a sec, sure thing. 23 feet for the detecting human body. On the first coffee, yeah, I'm on my first coffee as well. Another one does sound pretty good though. Detect if the person has fallen down. That sounds interesting. Okay, let's see. So I think, is it actually running or? Okay, it is running. Nothing is changing. We don't even really see the green. I don't know, it might have been there when we started. I didn't actually catch it. My theory is, though, we did like something like this. I think that would probably force it to keep refreshing if the deal is the actual dirty region kind of efficiency thing. Whoa. That's interesting. Okay, let's see here. Let's not do that then. Maybe it wouldn't need refresh. Maybe refresh and this is causing trouble. Yeah, 60 gigahertz are sensitive enough theoretically to measure your pulse by the tiny movements that your pulse gives your skin. That's pretty crazy. Back to running. Ah, yeah, it is there. I see it. So the calling refresh in the same main loop was throwing it off. Was making it do that. Oh, occasionally there's still artifacts. Yeah, there was one. It's still running fine though. Interesting. So yeah, I do think this has got to be. It's got to be what the deal is. Really, we should wait to do this stuff after the screen is set up. There we go. I want to replace the square. I'm actually going to use vector IO. I'm going to make a circle and I'm going to try to have it follow your finger, and then we'll add the second one for the second finger. Go 5 fingers. That's wrong. I don't know why I didn't have import. What board is powering the S3? Good read times. ESP32, yep, S3 dev kit. Innate R8 is the specific one about the soldering iron. You set it so that when you turn on the soldering iron, that it triggers your fume fan, or just put it on the same power strip. It's a good idea. So we hope to drive the 7-inch display as smoothly. Runs at 240 megahertz. I'm surprised how the touchscreen is drawing relatively decent response, even without much work, at least for small graphics. Yeah, it's pretty nice. The way the bubbles are bouncing around, I was pretty impressed as well with how big the display is. That it refreshes quick enough to not really have much visual artifacts. Got all our palettes. We'll make the first one. I guess we could make these in a list if we, but then we'd have to have these in a list as well. Yeah, why don't we write this as a list, actually? Oh, but we have different colors, I guess, is the problem. It's probably best to just bite the bullet now and make this a list, because then our touch code is going to be super easy. A lot easier than all these different touch 0, touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, all this. Okay. Maybe we could just use the same loop here, actually. Like the startup graphic idea, your graphic is nice. 7-inch, 40-pin TFT. Oh. The bot killed, the bot ate some of your links. I don't want to click over to bot mods because it also shows posts that have been deleted for moderation, but it might, if you just try again in another minute or two, it might be alright. Unless if that's the only link you had, then we're already good. Suppose we don't really need to keep the list, but I'll keep it because I guess maybe a future version we could play the, we could change the colors around or something. Some rainbow action or who knows what. 25 for the radius, that's pretty good probably. XY, I mean, let's start at negative so it's off the screen for the beginning. And then it'll move itself back to there when there's no touch, but it'll make itself to where the touch is when there is a touch. Or maybe it doesn't need to move itself back. Maybe it'll just stay where it ended, but touch circle's a pin. That's making a new one. We will still group that append, but it's main group. Touch circles. Would it be I? Let's do that. Oh, well, you can, we're back in Python land, though. Actually, I can just do that, can't I? Main group not exists? Okay. They get increasing IDs. So we're going to go look up the ID from the touch event, access the circle for that touch event, and then we're going to go x equals, we're going to have y equals x, y. Is that going to do what I think? I'm going to move the circles to where you touch. Might be able to drive the display directly with the S3. I haven't used the RA8875 driver board, but I think there's a library for CircuitPython. So to start with, we get nothing, and we do get the fading bit. If I touch, though, we get a circle. Okay, one thing we'll do is let's make them bigger. Maybe not quite that big. It'd still go a little bigger. The other thing is XY. I guess maybe we are needing to do that compensation for the that you were talking about earlier, because I do think we're ending up with the further to the right you get, the more off-center it is. The further to the left you get, the closer to on-center it is. So that was what? FT? Is it automatic inside there, or how do we do that? I'd say much in there. Inquired about the RA8875. Someone said the speed may be limited. I think Maker Melissa gave some feedback. S3 and driver boards should get here this week. The library currently running 3.5 inch. So we can just port the code over to the new driver. Only for updating temp humidity sensor about once a minute. Nothing intensive though. Slideshow background just static. Yeah, I would think that would be fine. If there is an existing display IO driver, I mean, I would think updating once a minute is plenty slow enough to be fine, probably even on a relatively large screen. So is it when you initialize it, maybe you, we need to send it some other... properties. Yeah, just doing some scaling here, scale factor. Got to run. Great progress today, Foam Guy and cool people. Yeah, for sure. Thank you again, K-Match. Play with this for a bit here. I'll be wrapping up before too long here as well. So have a good day and a good weekend and all that stuff, though. Definitely appreciate it again. All the help and the tablet, of course, and the builds and all this. So mucho apreciado. Nothing like what you're driving. Have a great day, K-Match. Awesome board. So how do these get set? Scale factor. Okay, these are set here. They're hard-coded basically for... But that's kind of scaling both ways. Well, not quite the same, I guess. Touch buffer size. Wonder if this is what we're ultimately using. Self.chip. Shit. Oh, it printed too early. I didn't actually get to see it. FT5X06. Okay, so we do have that scale factor. Or if we can find a data sheet for this thing. See, is this like just a value that came from there, or... Confidential? Bad news, my friends. No scale. So let's take a look at the values we actually get. except for they're not printing anymore.